Good evening to my very large crowd and wonderful audience, Miss Peacock. I have one student tonight. We are going to cover Canvas in a very short period of time. We're going to cram 4 hours of material into 3. So we're going to do this as quickly as we can. I'm going to start off, I'm actually on the Canvas login page. I need to show you how to get to Canvas first. You're probably watching this from within Canvas, so you probably already know how to get to Canvas, but for those of you who might have found this through a direct link, you go to the JD website page, and whether it's this version, which is the current version as we speak, or the new version, you will see a JD Tools. That's going to be a staple. And underneath JD Tools, you will see a link to Canvas. Click on that, and it will take you to the Canvas login page. Here, you will log in with your JD username. Note that we do not put the @jdcc.edu and your JDCC password. This will be the same that you use for all of your computers and for your email, etc., etc. Not your Hawk's Nest login. This is the other login that you use for everything else. When you first log into Canvas, let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing. In here in Recent Activity, these are items that will show you some of the things that may have been going on in courses that you're either taking or courses that you are teaching, which will be most of you guys that are listening. And then over on the right-hand side, you're going to have items like To Do. So if you have a grade, an assignment, or a quiz or a test that you have given to students, and they have turned something into you or they've taken a quiz, you'll have an indicator over on the right-hand side that will tell you how many of those specific items might need grading. Now, most of that will probably be an automatic thing if it's a quiz. But if you're doing some sort of a short answer and the quiz cannot grade that, if you're doing an essay question or something along those lines that the quiz system cannot grade, it will tell you that it will need grading. And of course, if there is an item over there that is an assignment, and maybe the student had to turn in a Microsoft Word document to you or something along those lines, that will also tell you that there was an item, or one or more items that need grading within that specific assignment, and they will line up here. If there's more than one, they'll just be a different ones, more than one in a row, column down here, I should say. Items that are coming up, this also will show up for students, so when we get to the gradebook portion later on, you'll note that here, it will tell you, here we have the final exam due May 1st at 12 p.m. in Test Course 2. So that will be very helpful for your students if you do use due dates. And keep them in mind, people, that this is very, very helpful for students, even if you are not teaching online or hybrid. Even if you do not give any of your tests through Canvas, quizzes through Canvas, or anything like that, if you put those due dates in there, this will show up. And again, I know many of you have not seen the gradebook yet. I know Miss Peacock hasn't, because I haven't published it yet. I just uploaded it this afternoon and haven't published it out to anybody yet. But the gradebook item, and we'll cover it again later this evening, you'll be able to see that even in a regular traditional class that has no online or online submission component whatsoever, this information can be very helpful to your students if you encourage them to log into Canvas, because it will give them a nice calendar of things when they're due, can send them reminders, things of that nature. Recent feedback. This is for feedback back to me. So if I were a student and I had just gotten a grade, I would be able to see here, I had just taken Canvas the basic quiz and I'd made a 65 out of 90 on that quiz. And I can click that and see more information about that grade. And then you as an instructor will have been able to set that up so that if this were online and they had taken this quiz online, they would either be able to see the results of that quiz and see which answers were correct or not correct in your feedback or not. You can set that up either way. So that's the basic section at the bottom. You have a listing here of courses, and this will show you the basic listing of the courses that you are either enrolled in or that you are teaching. You'll note here that there is a nice little customize button, and if you click on that customize link, you're going to see all the courses pop out. Oop, I moved my mouse too far. All the courses pop out here to the right. This is very handy for you as an instructor to have courses disappear that you don't want to see right now. You can always get to them by either clicking the customize or by clicking view all courses at the bottom. So you can click either of those links and still get to that listing. But if you don't want to see them in your drop down, you can uncheck them here. If I don't want to see instructors only, I can uncheck it. And I can close this little window. And now in my drop down, I don't see instructors only. If I want to get to it, I can click on view all courses. It's going to take me to a new page that's going to list all the courses. And there's my instructors only Of course, you guys don't see that one. And if I want to see it in my drop-down, I can click Customize and put a check mark back next to it. This can be helpful for you for either, maybe there's a mini-term course during the term that's already ended, and you want to remove that from your list. Maybe there is a previous term set of courses and you want to take those off your list. You can just go in there and uncheck those. That makes it very easy for you to control what we'll show for you here. The assignments is going to be very similar to items that you see underneath to do on the right hand side. You're going to have items that are to grade and items that have been recently graded. Items that are recently graded is really a thing that students will see. So directly underneath assignments, students will see recently graded right here. And as an instructor, you're going to see to grade. If you are an instructor and maybe you're enrolled in the Canvas training for instructors course, which every instructor watching this at Jefferson Davis Community College should be enrolled in, then you would see to grade here for the items that you may have to grade within Canvas. Or if you don't have any items that you need to grade, you will see recently graded if you've taken any of the quizzes that are available in the Canvas training for instructors course. You then have the option to click on the grades link, which is going to take you to this listing, which will show you courses that you're taking, and it will show you your average for those courses, or courses that you're teaching, which this will show you an average for any assignments that you may have taken. If you were test taking those as your instructor, it may show you some information about that. Of course, then you've got the calendar function up top, and the calendar function will show you everything within every course that you're either enrolled in or teaching. So you can see over here on the right hand side, let me scroll over just a little, you can see here is Anthony Hardy, which is my personal calendar, it's not part of any course itself. Then I have Test Course 1, which I'm teaching, Test Course 2, I have Canvas Training for Instructors, Canvas Orientation for Students, and Instructors Only. And if I had other items, if I had other courses that I was enrolled in or other courses that I were teaching, those would show up over here as well. You'll note that each one is a different color so that the assignments or due dates or any other sort of relevant dates within the course will show up out here. Now, if you want to use the information for a specific calendar, you can click on this calendar feed and you can copy this feed information and put it into your Google Calendar, which we'll have a separate video on how to do that exactly. It's really a fairly simple thing to do, but that's where that will come from. But now it's going to show you everything that is there. So if you only wanted to get just the calendar information for Test Course 1, you would uncheck all of these, see how the colors go bland, so that the only color that's really there is Test Course 1. Now if I see the calendar feed, it's going to be slightly different, and that's only going to pull the information for Test Course 1. I'll go ahead and check these back. Here's a quick item, briefly to show you, you can go to Week View, and you can see the entire view for the week. You can also go to, and this is one of my favorite things, and I'm glad they fixed the bug so the scheduler stays where it's supposed to go. I love the scheduler. This is very, very handy for creating appointments. It can be handy for you as an instructor, as an advisor, to create appointment sign-up slots for your advisees. If you look underneath courses, each one of you should have a course called My Advisor. Ms. Peacock, can you tell me if you see that underneath courses? Do you see a My Advisor course?
Yes.
Okay, good. Ms. Peacock sees her My Advisor course. So if she goes to her calendar, goes to Scheduler, she can come over here to our Create an Appointment button, and she can create, maybe she's going to have advising appointments, and she can put a specific location in there. If you put an address and whatnot, it can actually map it for you. Pick a date, and I'm going to pick, April 30th, and it's going to go from 12 o'clock p.m., and it tells you right below what format it should be. You can see. It says it's maybe difficult to see up on the screen, but it does say 12 o'clock p.m. in very small letters right below my box. To here, and I'm going to go till 5 o'clock p.m. And I don't need a second one, so I'm going to delete that one. And maybe I want to split this now, because that's how long I'm going to be in advising, and I want 30 minutes per slot. So I can say split this into slots of 30 minutes apiece. It'll automatically split those for me. and I can limit each time slot to one user so that only one student at a time can sign up. And you probably don't want to do this for advising slots, but if you're doing group presentations or you're doing individual presentations, you may want to allow students to see who is signed up for time slots. And you can limit participants to one appointment. Maybe you want them to be able to sign up for more than one appointment. You can uncheck that or change this number to a 2. Now, you also need to, at this point, select which calendar this appointment is going to apply to. So we click Select Calendars, and in this case I'm going to have it apply to Test Course 1. You may apply that to your My Advisor course, and that would go out to your advisees. For math, when they're doing their testing, they may they may apply this to their math testing course, where all the math students are gathered for like 098 are all in one general course together. They may apply that to the math testing course, and then the students can all sign up for math tests in one place. You can also add additional details, and if we scroll down a little bit, well, it's not wanting me to scroll down here. There is a blue button down at the bottom that basically allows me to finish the appointment. And now I can see there are 0 people signed up. I can click on it to see the full details. And I can see there's no one there right now, but there are all the empty slots. And as a student, I would be able to go to my calendar, I would see the empty slots, and I could click on it, and in here, instead of saying edit, I would have a button, and I forget exactly what it says, that allows me to sign up for that. So as a student, I would need to go to my calendar in Canvas, go to the correct day, and then I would see those empty appointment slots. I would be able to click on the slot and click on a one button that would sign me up for that appointment slot. So that's how you can use calendars and appointments. And again, they can be used in your courses, they can be used in your My Advisor course, they can be used in any different way that you could possibly come up and be creative and schedule them. So I'm going to do done and go back to list. And I can go back to my regular calendar here. And it will take a couple of moments. Notice, I believe what it is, I don't show anything here in my calendar, and it's either one of two things, and I'll be honest, I can't remember which. I may need to refresh my calendar for them to show. Or maybe because no one has signed up yet, they don't show up here, and I would only see those appointments when people are signed up. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure about that one, unfortunately. So that covers the calendar. Now we're going to move up into our other items across the top. Help will take you to a very nice help page for Canvas itself. Let's talk about settings. Now, when we get into the courses themselves, you're going to note that there are 2 links for settings. This is the user settings link. So if you hear me talk about settings, hopefully most of the time, I will call it user settings or course settings. The one up at the top, where my mouse is now, is user settings. The one, when you're in a course, that shows up in the lower left-hand corner at the bottom of your course menu is called course settings. The links just say settings, and they can be confusing, but this one is related to your user and your user settings. So when I click on settings, I have a lot of different items within here that I can take a look at. I've got home, and then you can see on my home page, I clicked on notifications, sorry about that. Let me go back to settings. Here in my settings, I can see this is the name that I've got. I can see basic information, and then I can scroll down and I can see web services, and these are services that Canvas can use to communicate with me. So I may want to use Google Docs to link Google document files into my Canvas course. And I have done that. I've linked my Google documents to Canvas. Facebook can view my profile and I can view the Facebook app, so that Canvas can send me notifications to Facebook so that I can get those while I'm on Facebook. LinkedIn, it can't send me messages in LinkedIn, but it can link my LinkedIn profile, so that if someone comes and looks at my Canvas profile, which users can see your Canvas profile, if they go to my Canvas profile, they will see my LinkedIn profile there. And Skype, same thing. My Skype profile is linked here, so they click on that and they'll be able to go and see my Skype profile. I could link Twitter, Delicious, or Digo, or any number of different things. And then there's some integration stuff, which you guys don't worry about the integrations, so y'all won't have to worry with that.
So if we just click on those, like on mine, or all of their other services.
If you click on that, I'll show you. It'll bring you up something that will allow you to authorize. You'll have to put in this case, your Twitter username and password or your Facebook username and password. Follow the directions within those. The only one that really is a communicator kind of thing, really, is the Facebook item. So that if you go to Facebook and you find the Canvas app in Facebook and add that app to your Facebook profile page and come here and link your Canvas profile to Facebook, once those two actions are complete, if you receive a message in Canvas, that message will come up in your Facebook app, your Facebook Canvas app. You'll have to go to the Canvas app to see it, but that way if you're there, you'll see it link up on Canvas app, and you'll see a little message, an indicator pop up in Facebook that'll show you have a message waiting, so you can go and read that. Now, you also can do underneath ways to contact up here at the top right, you can add additional email addresses. So I can add email addresses here. So if you do want to add your personal email address, you can. Notice that your Warhawks address, which is the main address that the college has for you on file, even though our jdcc.edu is our official, the Warhawks is the one that the system uses. That email address you cannot delete. But you can add as many different email addresses here as you would like. So you can add your phone here by clicking on the text SMS. So you put in your cell phone number here. You select which carrier you have. And it'll fill out the rest of the information for you. Or if you just have another email address you want to add, you can add that information in here. Now, by default, adding that in there does not necessarily get you any contact information to that email address. Same thing down here, other contact method. By default, mine is set for Facebook. It's going to ask me to add SMS or text message or something else. It's the same basic thing. So what I can do, once I know I want to then, after I've added those methods here, once I want to make those active, I need to go to notifications. And here you'll see all the different ways. There will be multiple columns. I have 3 different ways to be contacted. If I had added a text message or some other email address, there would be additional columns. And I can go through each of the different ways that Canvas may contact me and determine how I want that method to be used. So in this case, the due date, and if I don't know what due date is, what that means, I can put my mouse over top and I see a little pop-up that says due date for due date changes. So how do I want to be notified about due date changes? Right now it's set to email address and I'll get notifications weekly. So maybe I want to get those notifications right away if a due date has been changed because it's important to me. So if I don't even click on anything, I'm just going to put my mouse over top and you'll see I get 4 little icons. The one at the right, do not send me anything. The next one is a little calendar, send me a weekly summary. The next one is send daily summary, or to the far left, notify me right away. I click on the one I want to pick. I don't have to save the page or anything. That's automatically saved. It is done. Now you can see check mark ASAP. So whenever there is a due date change, I will immediately get a notification at this email address. If I want to add something for Facebook, I can say, I just want to get those daily at Facebook. So I can see a daily summary in Facebook. And you can do that all through everything that Canvas may contact you about. And again, if you don't know what something means in Canvas, you can come and put your mouse over top, submission content, for comments on assignment submissions. So if you have submitted something to your instructor, or to us if you're taking one of our Canvas courses, once we get our submission pieces put in, and you want to get notifications on it, you can go out there and change that for the different ways to be contacted. And this is what will remind you what that means. What does discussion entry mean? For topics I've commented on. So if you want to get notified when a topic changes that you've commented on, you can change those items. For discussions, for any new topics in a course, you can change that item. So you can go through and see what each of those do and be able to change how Canvas communicates with you. If you want to see what files you, not belonging to your course, belonging to you have as an individual, you can see those. And in all honesty, aside from a profile picture, you're probably not going to see just a whole lot. So you can click on files and do that. If you want to change your profile picture itself, I would just click back on settings at the top up here. You can just click right here, and if you don't have a picture, you're going to have a nice little blank. So you can click right there, and it'll prompt you to be able to upload a file. so that you can then upload that file directly into Canvas, and it will save that in your files section for you. If you do have e-portfolios, you can create those here. Again, that's not something we're going to go into depth in this course. And then we have added additional links for Help Desk and Library to all courses and to the user settings area. So you don't have to click on those now, but those will actually take you over to the JDCC page with Help Desk information on how to contact the Help Desk, and over to the library page on the JDCC website. Now, next link up top is the inbox. So if we click on inbox, we will see basically it's an inside Canvas electronic messaging system. If you want to send a message to someone, you simply start here, typing in that information, be it the student's name, the name of the group. If you click off, you can see, or the course. And if you type in the course, it will send it to every student in the course, etc., etc. Very simple to do. You can come here in the message body, type whatever message you like to send to the student. Now, here's where Canvas gets kind of neat. There is an attach, so if you want to attach a file, you can do that from right here as well. Or if you want to record something, you can do that. So if I hit record, it's going to pop this up and it's going to say, oh, do I want to allow camera? I'm going to say allow. And then you guys get to see me for just a second. Okay. And I can hit record on here, and it will record that message, upload it directly into Canvas, and then email that message to my students, or to whomever individual or group within a course that I may have. Now, if I have a file that I want to upload, I can click on the Upload Media tab instead of Record Media right here, and I can select an audio file or a video file. Now, I will caution you on using that extensively. You don't use this to record long messages. Anytime you see this record upload media content, don't use that for anything longer than 30 seconds to a minute, and don't use it if you're going to send one individually to each student. Your course has a limit of 500 megabytes per course. That space can get eaten up very quickly if you do a lot of audio and video feedback to your students, or if you're going to try to record lectures and upload them directly into Canvas. And we'll get into that in a little bit more and later, but just as a good best practice, if you're going to have anything with any sort of length to it, record that separately, either using Camtasia or a separate video camera or something along those lines, and then upload that to YouTube, and take that link from YouTube and put that in Canvas, so that YouTube is holding the files and it doesn't take up any space in your course whatsoever. And you still get the exact same benefit, and you'll see that there's no difference. When you go into Canvas, you don't have to go in and click on a link and then get taken over to YouTube. You'll actually see the player embedded directly in the YouTube page. So if you are looking at a message, you'll see it here, and you'll see this was a grade that was automatically sent, and then the student sent it back, and the student sent some more information. I can open the submission for that assignment in a new window here, or I can open that submission for the homework. This is everything from that student to me, from the test student to me. Which student is it? Put my mouse, and hopefully you'll know which student it is, I would hope. You can tell which course it's for. In this case, we have one from a real student, and you can tell that it's Canvas orientation for students. Now, this test student doesn't have any course information because it's just a test, but for a real student, you'll know which course it came from too. And again, you can use the two. If I'm going to do let me get back up to the new. I can click on the little folder over there, and it will start showing me my drop down, and I can use Canvas course for instructor. I can click this, and it's going to show me everybody, teachers, or all the students, and if I've defined groups, it will also show me the students within there as well. So that's the Canvas inbox system. Again, you should have contextual help in a lot of places. You'll have a little pop-up help there, and it will walk you through. You can play this and walk through a nice little pop-up help from question marks all over Canvas that look like that, and it'll give you a nice little contextual help. Now, if you want to go back to the very front page of Canvas, which there's no need to, we can go directly into a course from here, but if you did want to go back to that front page, you can click on the JD logo, and it takes you back to the front page of Canvas here. So that's the overall layout. Now let's move into a course. I'm going to go into my test course 1. Every instructor should have the courses they're teaching, and they should be enrolled in Canvas training for instructors, and they should have at least 2 test courses, test course 1 and test course 2. In this course, when I first log in, by default, it is set to the recent activity page. If you remember, we had recent activity on the home page before we even went into a course. That recent activity had recent activity for all of the courses that I was involved in, whether as a teacher or as a student. When I come into a course, I can now see the recent activity for this specific course. So it becomes much more specific as I drill down into the course. At the left-hand side, we're going to see lots of menu items over here. Now what I want to do to make this fresh for you guys is I'm going to reset this course. And this is something that I would encourage you not to do unless you're doing a course copy and you have a very specific reason to do so. And you can watch the course copy video for that. I'm going to reset this course content. And what this is going to do is delete all of the content in this course. It's going to basically take this course completely from scratch. That way, as we're going through and we're working on the setup of this course, you'll be able to see everything as if it's a brand new course. How often are you going to do this as an instructor? Probably not very often. You'll do this once per course you're teaching, and you'll probably copy it from that point forward for the most part. But it's important you get it right that first time then. If you're only going to do it once, let's make sure we get it right the first time. One of the most important things in Canvas, and one of the things we like to stress in Canvas, is making sure our navigation is good. Now, of course, we've talked about the navigation things across the top. Let's look at the course navigation within the course, which is our course menu here at the left. There are a lot of different items over here at the left-hand side, and as the pilot group and I sat down and we started looking at things last fall, and I'm speaking last fall as in fall 2012 if you're watching this in the future, we tried to think about how we could simplify the navigation as much as possible for students. We delved into a lot of the different capabilities of these different menu items, and it became pretty clear pretty quickly that there was one specific menu item that could do pretty much what every other menu item could do just about. And that is the modules menu item. And you say, well, I don't teach with modules. I teach by chapters, or I teach by this or by that. Don't think of modules as having to teach in a modular format. This is simply a place to put all of your course material and assessment material. And this will simplify course navigation for students. In Blackboard, we tried to do something a little similar. If you were on the Blackboard system, and I know this is not a transitionary video, but I do want to talk about that very briefly. In Blackboard, we had a link called Course Materials, and we tried to put all downloadable materials in that. And then we had another link called Assignments, and we tried to put tests and quizzes and things of that nature underneath that. Even that was confusing to students somewhat, and we had some instructors who didn't always follow all those guidelines, etc., etc. What we want to do in Canvas is really solidify the navigational piece. So you're going to look here and you're going to see assignments and go, okay, that's where my assignments go. Wrong. Your students are not going to see that link if you set this up correctly. The assignments will be there, but the students won't see them through that menu item. The students will see them through modules. So, okay then, Anthony, what needs to be there in the menu item list? What needs to be there? Well, let me show you how to change it, and what we leave is what you'll be able to see. So to change that menu item list is a very simple procedure. We go to Course Settings. Remember how we talked about there were 2 settings links? We go to Course Settings, and then inside Course Settings you're going to see several tabs across the top, and we'll talk about these later. But for now, let's go to the Navigation tab. In the Navigation tab, you'll see drag and drop items to reorder them in the course navigation. Oops, I clicked the down arrow, sorry about that. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, and we can drag items down here to hide them from students. So we don't want assignments here, and I know that may seem confusing at first, but just bear with me. I'm going to drag and see, I can just click and drag, and I drop it down here, and it'll let it go and see how it appears down at the bottom. We don't want discussions. Don't worry, you can still have discussions. We don't want pages. Well, how am I going to have you? We'll have everything. Don't worry. We're not taking anything away from you. No files. You will have files. No syllabus. The syllabus tool in Canvas is not the greatest, so you definitely do not want to use that, however tempting it might look like it is. Outcomes can come down. Quizzes, but no quizzes. Conferences can come down. Collaborations can come down. So what we have are home, announcements, grades, people, modules, help desk, and library. Those help desk and library items are created by us at the system level, and so those could go away or come back. You don't have to worry about those, just leave them where they are. The other items are all within Canvas for modules up, so leave those up top and move all the other items down bottom. Once you've moved all those down to the bottom, you'll see a blue save button at the bottom. Click Save. And now you will notice over here on my course menu, everything has been reordered. And now I know some of you are thinking, if you haven't watched any of these videos before, announcements is grayed out. In Blackboard, there was like a little eye with a line through it when students couldn't see it, and you could tell certain kinds of things, and modules is grayed out, but then collaborations and all this stuff is grayed out too. I would have thought grayed out means students can't see it. What can they actually see? They can see what is not bold. So right now they can't see announcements. Right now they can't see modules. They will see them automatically without you doing anything once there's material in those links. If there's nothing there, unlike Blackboard, Canvas does this automatically. Once there's something there, it turns itself on. Unless you have put it down here in the permanently turned off area. So we put collaborations in down. You can see there's library, that's our bottom item. There's library. Everything below library is in our permanently turned off area. Everything up here is in our dynamic area. So once we add an announcement, announcements will automatically turn on for students. Once we add something in modules, modules will automatically turn on for students. So what we tell students is when you go to Canvas, the first thing you go to is modules. One of the very first links, if not the first link you should see in modules, should be the course syllabus. So you as an instructor should keep that in mind. That's what students are being told. That's what they're expecting. So make sure you go to modules and you make sure your syllabus is one of the first, if not the first link that they see within modules. So we talked about this course menu. I've talked a lot about modules. I'll talk about some of these others in just a minute. Let's go ahead and dig directly into modules and have a look. So when I click on modules the first time, I'm going to see an empty page with some basic instructions for me, and Canvas loves the blue button. So watch for blue buttons. Create a module. Now, what do I want my module name to be? You can have one module for your entire course. You do not have to have multiple modules, and this can simply be, if you want to call it, and if your course was moved over from Blackboard, you may just have one called Course Materials. You can lock the module until a given date. Don't do that unless you're ready to work. You can do students must move through requirements in this module in a sequential order. In other words, they have to start at the top and go to the bottom. Don't do that unless you are really ready to test it and make sure you know what you're doing. It works really, really well, but make sure you know what you're doing. So I hit Add Module, and now I can see I have something called Course Materials. And this is just an empty module. I now have a nice little gear icon. If I click my gear icon at the right-hand side of my module, it says Add Content, Edit, or Delete. If I edit, it's going to let me change the name and change that lock status and that other item that we had. I can delete it, obviously, or I can add content. Add content is going to put stuff inside that module. So I'm going to click on Add Content. And here's where Canvas starts to work, for real. Remember how I said we needed our syllabus to be first? And how I said that, don't worry, your assignments will still be there. Don't worry, quizzes can still be there. You'll still have files, you'll still have pages. Here's where you add those items within Canvas. When you add them, they're going to appear here, and they'll also have a link over in their corresponding inactive menu area. So if I add an assignment here, and I go over to the Assignments tab, because as an instructor I can still see that. Students can't see it, but if I add an assignment here, and then I come over here and I click on Assignments, as an instructor I can still see it and click on it. There's the assignment too. So adding something here puts it in that corresponding menu item. So it will be, it's the same thing linked in two different locations. Same thing for quizzes. It will show up over in quizzes. File, it will show up over in files. Content pages will show up over in content pages. But what this does, by adding it through here, or either linking to it from here, either way, as long as those items you want the students to see are in modules, they have one place to go for all of your course content. everything. So they start from the top to the bottom. If you're teaching an online course, they go through your course materials and take a practice quiz or a test or whatever the case may be, and they move forward. Maybe they got a project that's due. You define your groups. You have all your discussion links directly within your modules so that they simply move from top to bottom for the entire course, and they don't have to wonder what's next. It's all very, very clear. And you can lock these module items within certain dates, etc., so you can control that without having to control access at the actual item, or you can control access at the item however you prefer, whichever one you're more comfortable with. So I'm going to start off with a file, because what did I say we wanted to do? Syllabus first. So I don't have any existing files in this course, so the only thing I see is new file. You'll note on any of those items in drop-down, if you click on it, you get an option to add new. You'll see new file, new content page, new assignment, new quiz, etc. If you have existing ones, they'll show up right above new file. You may even have to scroll down to get new file once you have several things here. In the meantime, I'm just going to click on new file because I don't have anything. And now I'm going to pick a file. Hopefully I'll have something on this workstation. See, where am I at recording wise? 35 minutes again, that's where it messed up last time. Okay, so I've just clicked chosen file. It took it a second to come up. Go to my documents, and I'm just going to pull the PDF just for the sake of argument. But remember, you may need to go to documents to get to your stuff. Click open. Oh, I clicked it multiple times. Bear with me, guys. I have to close it out. There. So I've chosen my file. Right now I only have a thing called course files for a folder, which is just fine. And now you have your indention. Your indention, think of that strictly as just an organizational tool. So if you have a lot of different things, you can arrange them visibly within the course so that it makes more sense for a hierarchical, almost like an outline type system. Personally, I like 2 levels of indention if I'm just going to have a few things, because it kicks it over far enough that I feel it's visibly different enough. So I'm going to click Add Item. Now it uploads that file for me, and the file appears, and at this point I've added my first item. That's it. Very, very simple. Now if I don't like this name, 2013 Social Media Report February copy.pdf, do students need to see all that copy.pdf stuff? No, and I don't want to change the name of the file on my computer, so I can change the name of what they see. I can click on the Edit Item Details, and then this is the title. This is not the name of the file, this is just the title. So I'm just going to backspace over and click Update. And so now what they see is 2013 Social Media Report February. And you can see this is an indentation of 2 levels. And the little cloud item indicates that it's a document that can be downloaded. I can then go back in and add additional content. I can add a assignment or quiz, which we're going to leave those for the gradebook portion. We're not going to do those here. So let's move down to content page. Actually, let me skip content page. Let's go directly to discussion. If I want to have a discussion, I'm going to click new topic because I don't have any discussion topics in this course yet. If I did, they would be listed here. So what topic name do I want to have? I'm going to be very simple. Topic 1. And I'm going to click Add Item. And now it's giving me a little chat window so that I can tell that it's a discussion item. And I simply click on that, and it's going to take me directly over to the discussion, and I can start typing. Oop, I clicked the wrong button. This laptop's slippery. I can click here in the reply field and start typing whatever I'd like to type, and click Post Response and have that entry entered in. And then as a new student, I can either come up here and do a new reply, or I can come down here and reply to this post. So they are threaded discussions and they work rather well. You as an instructor can use the unread option. You can collapse replies. You can expand replies. or close for comments. Here with our little, again, the little gear and the little drop down so that you can close that if you're ready for that particular discussion to end. So now I've finished with this, playing with this topic, testing it, making sure it works. And I want to delete this my test comment. I can just simply say on the comment itself, use the little gear and delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes. And I can go back to modules. Notice how modules is darkened in on our menu? It took it a little while to darken because we didn't actually refresh the whole page. We're doing everything in one part of the page. Once the whole page refreshed, it actually did. If somebody else had come in to look at it, if they were enrolled in the course and the course was active, they would have already seen it was dark before we did because we hadn't refreshed the page yet. We were just working inside the one little piece. So there's my topic 1. Now let's go into another item. I'm going to add content for something else. I did a discussion then. Let's go what's below discussion. A text header. A text header is nothing simply but an organizational tool. Nothing whatsoever else at all. So this is a, let's see, chapter 2. And I'm going to get this one level. Oh, but I really want, this topic should not be topic 1. This should be topic 2. So I can edit that. And that should go underneath chapter 2. So how do I move those? If you look here at the left-hand side, you'll see the little up and down arrows. And when I put my mouse on top of those, you'll see the 4 arrow keys. I can click and drag. And now topic 2 is underneath chapter 2. And I could create another text header. Maybe this is the syllabus. The 2013 social media report is, oh, not add module, sorry. I want to add content to this module. And it's going to be a text header. Syllabus, indent 1 level. And that needs to go right there. So I have syllabus, chapter 2 and a topic. Oh, now I want to add another module. I can come up here to create module. And instead of course materials, maybe I'm going to say this is my tests or quizzes or whatever. So if you don't want to have all your stuff together and organize in a timeline from top to bottom, you can still divide it up. Have your materials and your assessments separate. You can still do that. I'm going to click add module. And here I've got tests. Add content. I can add an external URL. Maybe the test is on another website, or it's a practice quiz. So let's call this, I'm going to call it jdcc.edu for the sake of argument. Perhaps that's a link to a practice test that your textbook publisher has given to you. And again, you choose your indentation level, whatever you prefer. And now this is a practice test. When I click on it, it's going to take me to the jdcc.edu website. Go back to modules. Now if I'm going to, I can also move modules around the same way that I moved items around. So I move by clicking on next to the module name. I can click and drag that module up and down. I can move items between modules by clicking and dragging. I don't have to remove them and re-add them. I can click on chapter 2 and drag it down under tests, and maybe topic 2 needs to come down here too. So I can very easily reorder those items, just lickety-split, no problem whatsoever. Now inside course materials, this is one of the more powerful features inside Canvas called the content page. And the tools we're going to use within the content page, you will see all over the place within Canvas. So we're going to spend just a little bit of time on that. We don't have any existing content pages, so I'm going to click on New Page, and just for the sake of argument, making it simple, I'm going to say Page 1. This would obviously be a title that you would want to make sense for your students. Maybe this was, written material on content 1, topic 1, or whatever the case may be. And so here's Page 1. I click on that page, and it's blank. It's a blank canvas waiting for me to go. And we'll talk about these arrows here in just a few moments. I can now edit this page. I would recommend against create this new page. That will break your modules hierarchy. So don't use create new page or anything unless you're in modules. Let the modules do your navigation for you between pages. Don't create navigation inside the pages themselves unless it's to an external item and you're opening it in a new window. If you wanted them to go to like a Google with a specific search and you opened it in a new window, that's fine. But I wouldn't do this unless it were within the page itself. So edit, I clicked edit. That's all I've done is click edit. And first, before we go further anywhere else, let me show you first. You've got your standard bold, italicize, and your formatting options. You got some other neat tools down here we'll talk about here in just a moment. You got your font and paragraph items. But then over here in the right-hand side, you got some really neat tools. If you wanted to link to other items within the course, you can. You know how I recommended against using create new page? I would also recommend against using the links area over here because again we're trying to use modules to create our navigation, so I wouldn't use that. The only thing I would do is you can link to something inside modules directly right here, or you can link directly to course navigation. I wouldn't link to anything else here at all. You can, and I know a lot of instructors probably will, but that will kind of break your module's navigation routine because it actually keeps track of where you are within the module scheme of things, and if you create these links, it can break that. If you're linking directly to course navigation, that's the same thing as clicking on something over here. I would not use any of these items down here, the files list, collaborations, that's why we have those turned off over here. So I would not use anything here that's turned off in your menu items over here. However, files and images are really great to use, and I would highly encourage you to use files and images. You can link a file directly from modules, but maybe you want to provide the student with some instruction before they see the file, and you don't want that instruction to be in the file. You want them to read the instructions before they download the file. So you create a content page, and you type your instructions blah blah, and now you're ready to put the file in. So you come over here to files, you click upload new file if it's not already there, and you can choose your file, and this time I'm going to use a little PowerPoint, and I simply click the upload button. Now it's important when you click upload where your cursor is, so I'm going to make sure my cursor is where I want it to be. Click upload. It's going to upload that file. At the bottom left, if you can see that, it gave you a percentage. See how it went yellow? Now I can see my file is uploaded, it's in blue, it's right in the middle, it's already there, it's linked into my program, and if I click on course files here, I'm going to see there's my PDF that I used for my syllabus, and there's the file that I just uploaded. So if I wanted to use that file again in another location, I don't have to upload it again. I can go to files, course files, and maybe I'm in another page and I'm down further and I want to link to that. Don't forget, students, you can use the instructions like this. I click and it links it again for me. Makes it very easy to reuse your files without having to go find file names or re-upload files, etc., etc. If there are images you want to use, you can do a neat little thing called Find Images on Flickr Creative Content. Maybe I'm looking for images of doves. Apparently that must be a rock group band. Boom. I just simply, that's from Flickr. Didn't even have to go to Google, didn't have to download a file, didn't have to do anything. That file is not even in my course. It's not taking up anything, any sort of space within my course. But you go, gosh, that thing's rather large. What am I going to do about that? If you click on it, just like if you're in Word, you've got a little resize. And you can move it around, click on it, you can center it, just like in Word. Just do whatever you need to do with the picture, however you'd like to do it. If you want to upload an image, it functions exactly like we did before. You click on up for files, you click on upload a new image, you choose the file. I think there are a few sample pictures on here maybe. And you pick I'll pick the koala. You upload, it uploads the file, and it automatically links it just like it did the file, directly within your page. You click on that, and you can resize this. There you are. So now, these other neat little tools that you have up here, if you put your mouse over top of them, it will tell you what they are. Embed image is going to do basically the same thing we just did. Only it's going to give you the option, instead of just coming from ones you upload or images on Flickr Creative Commons, if you know the URL to an image, you can simply type in that URL right here. Math teachers are using My Math Lab, so they probably won't need this, but you can insert a math equation, and there's a neat little tool. If I can scroll back up. Hang on, let me scroll back up before I insert that math equation tool. It allows you to build your math equation with all the symbols. That might be helpful for formulas in different subjects, perhaps. You can also do YouTube searches. So if you're looking for YouTube search on, let's see, Hammurabi. Well, these don't look like they're probably in English. So we might have to go to YouTube to find something for that one. Let's see, JDCC Harlem Shake. The JDCC Harlem Shake edition. We click. I didn't have to go to YouTube. It will be embedded and it will show up. There is a nice tool here, Search Resource Librarians, that you guys can go through, and there are all kinds of different collections that you can go through that it can use to search for different items and different bits and pieces. I would encourage you to go through here and take a look and see what you can find. And if there's anything that you find that you really love, please share it with your other instructors, and bring it back to us for us to be able to share if there's really anything amazing you think would be useful to a lot of different instructors. You also have underneath the little down pointing arrow more external tools. Twitter lists, so if you wanted to embed if you had a Twitter for your class, a Twitter account for your class, you can embed that here. Or if you wanted to embed a graph, or TED, if you've used TED for educational videos, you can embed those videos directly within your course, just like with YouTube. You also have the option, as I mentioned before, to record media. Again, you don't want to do anything too long. If this is your intro to your class, 1 minute, 2 minutes is fine, but you don't want to record an hour here, or 30 minutes even, because that's really too much for a course. So you can do those and record that information using the little film strip. Once you've taken care of all that, you've got some options down here. Hide this page from students. Not going to be of much use to us, probably. If you don't want the students to see a specific page, don't use that option. Take it out of modules. That's the easy way to do it. Just take that item out of modules. That way you never have to mess with this hide this page from students, because that can get confusing. Use modules to control what students see. Don't use any of the other hide features. Who can edit the page? Teachers and students, or anyone. You probably don't ever want to use anyone. But maybe you would want to use teachers and students on rare occasions. That's possible. I can see that. If you wanted students to work together in a group to build a web page, this would be a tool they could use. And then notify users that this content has changed. This would tell anyone in your course that this page has been altered. So if you've made a change during the term the students need to know about, you don't even have to send them an email. You just tick that, click Save Changes, and it sends an automatic notification that this page has changed. So let's hit Save Changes. And now I'm going to go in. All this hard work. Oops. I didn't mean to delete it. I didn't mean to delete it. What happened? My students go in here and they're calling me and they're saying there's nothing going on. Well, Canvas has this really, really, really cool thing called Page History. Click on Page History, and guess what we get to see? 3 versions of the page. So if I put my mouse over top of it, that's from 9 minutes ago. And if I click on that one, what do I see? It's blank. Back to revision history. Click on the one from 6:35. Oh, that one has all my stuff in it. Oh, but is it the one I for sure want? I can look through and, okay, that's the one I want. Roll back to this version. Now I have undeleted my stuff. In essence, undeleted. It never actually got deleted. Now what is cool too, I'm going to go to page history one more time. There were 3 before, now there are 4. So I have blank, all the stuff on there, deleted, all the stuff back. It didn't, when it did that, all it did was copy. It didn't restore that version, it copied it. So I can see that it was deleted, nothing added, deleted, restored. I can actually see everything within the page. So use that, and I can go back to my current version, and that's what students will see. So use that. If you do, now delete page is going to make things go away. But if you delete the stuff within the page, you can use page history. But delete page, I don't think there's an undo for that one. So be careful with your delete page item at the right-hand side. So content pages is very powerful. There's all kinds of neat interactive type things you can do within pages. So let's go back to modules. And we've got syllabus and page 1 and all these different things we've added to all of our modules. And these things are nice, these things are neat. And again, like I said, in our gradebook course is when we're going to talk about assignments and quizzes. So we've covered files, content pages, discussions, text headers, external URLs. Don't worry about external tools. We're not going to use those right now. And we'll cover assignments and quizzes when we come to a later point in time. So you can see it's very simple, or fairly simple, to put everything within your course directly within course modules and not have to worry about going all over the world to find stuff. Now let me show you what I was talking about before. If I go to, we've got one file here, and we've got some files we linked into our pages, right? Because we uploaded some other stuff. I go to Files. There's the PDF, the PowerPoint, the Koala JPEG. All that stuff is here. There's no need for students to see it like this. This won't make any sense to them. Keep that item hidden. If I go to Pages, you see page 1 over here, but I'd have to create an entire navigation scheme within here and link wiki page to wiki page and create navigation to go back and forward and all kinds of stuff. Don't let them see pages, because then you as an instructor have a responsibility to create all kinds of navigation. Modules will do that for you. Discussions, I could see some advantage to having a separate item for discussions, but not really. If everything is in modules, students only have one thing they have to click to get to everything. And it really makes it simple for the students, so keep it simple for the students. If you add an assignment, it's going to appear underneath assignments. If you add a quiz, it's going to appear underneath quizzes. If you had a conference or a collaboration, those things are going to appear here underneath conferences or collaborations. So those things, that's very, very easy for you as an instructor to be able to keep everything directly underneath modules. Now let me show you how modules does your navigation. I'm going to click on, the file will actually, I believe, display for you. Yes, it doesn't have me download the file by default. It's going to try to display the file for me, and I may have to, and it may not work great for this PDF for some reason. It's not working great for this PDF, that's okay. Well, it tried to come up there for a second. But I can download the file from here, up top, if I'm a student and I want to. Or, it should be displaying here correctly, and I'm going to have to talk to them and see if I can find out why it's not displaying correctly. It may be something to do with our particular PDF. Most of the time you guys are not going to be displaying PDFs. If you do and you have a problem, please let me know. I'll open up a ticket with Canvas. I'm going to open up one for this one. But you can download the file directly. You also have Next here at the bottom, and encourage your students to use this Next button. That takes you to the next item in modules. So we click Next, and I go directly to page 1. That was underneath that first menu item. And so I look at this, and then what's next? Next module is the test module, and it takes me to the first item within the test module, which is topic 2. And the next item is a practice test, which was an external link to Jeff Davis. And that was the last thing. But see, it even kept me, even when I went to an external link, it kept me within Canvas. It didn't let me go outside. So I can come back here to see course full sequence, or I can click on modules, amounts to the same thing. Or I can click previous to go back. So it keeps you within Canvas, keeps you moving back and forth between your modules, so it takes care of that navigational piece for you. That's really because you have everything in one place and it navigates for you. That's why we picked modules to be the centralized focus of everything within Canvas. So that's modules. So let's take a look very quickly at the other 3 menu items, and then we're going to take a very brief break. Under announcements is where most of your announcements feeds will come. If you wanted to, you can add an external feed, and we're not going to go into detail with that, but that will be an RSS feed. Maybe you want a news feed from CNN or some other news site. So you can do that here, and you can post that feed URL and add the titles in or however you want to, and you can go through and take a look at that yourself. Or you can put an announcement directly within Canvas. So I make an announcement, and I've got access to all the same things I had within Content Page. Remember how I had links, files, and images? And how I've got YouTube and search resource libraries and the drop down with Twitter and TED-Ed and all that stuff. Everything is exactly the same that I had before. So I can do a topic title, which is basically my subject for the announcement. And then I can come down here to the body, and this is the announcement. Don't forget, college closed for summer. Everyone gets paid as if they work full time. Yay! If only. Just kidding. And you can attach files here. You can delay posting. Delay posting will allow you to give a specific date and time that you would like to post, which can be very handy if you want to post date announcements a week or 2 ahead of time. Sit down at the beginning of the term, post date announcements throughout the entire term, so they'll be ready to go at specific times. You also can say users must post before seeing replies. So if you wanted to have an announcement and say that the student had to, they needed to make a post back to you on this announcement. They had to reply to the announcement in Canvas, and then they would be able to see what other people said. And maybe you could design an assignment around that somehow. Or you can enable a podcast feed if you're using attachments here to upload audio files. Again, probably not something we would do. We're not doing too much with podcasts anymore. But you can see those announcements here and play with that as much as you'd like. I hit save. An announcement is here, and it was automatically not only put into Canvas, but it's emailed out to the students. Now here's one big difference. I know this is going back to a Blackboard trick, but this is one big difference between Canvas and Blackboard again. In Blackboard, when you made an announcement and it was sent out, unfortunately Blackboard system emailed it out from the help desk email address. So if a student replied, they actually opened the ticket with the help desk. In Canvas, it comes from you, the instructor, just like it should. So if they reply, it comes back to you, the instructor, just like it should, which is wonderful. So those are announcements, very, very simple to do. This works just like the discussions page. Basically, an announcement is a discussion topic at this point. We move on to grades. We'll cover grades a lot more in depth when we go to our gradebook function, which will be our third piece later on. This is the instructor view with grades. So we don't really have any assignments in here. You can see student name, if there is a secondary ID, what assignments, that's the group we have, etc., etc. Again, we'll cover that more in depth later on. And then we have the people area of the course. Here within the people right now, we only have one person. This is a test course. We can see all roles, students, teachers, teacher assistants, designers, observers, different things like that. Primarily, the only thing we have are teachers and students. So you can see students, there are none. Teachers, here are the teachers in the course. View user groups, prior enrollments, registered services for that specific user, manage users. These are some of these things are administrative settings. If you click on the user's name or on a student's name, you get an option to send them an individual message. You can see a student interactions report, which is kind of handy. That'll show you how many times you've contacted them. So I would highly recommend that you don't, anymore at all, send an email to a student directly. Do everything through Canvas so it's all documented through Canvas. You don't even have to go look and try to find anything anymore. Canvas will do a student interaction report for you. You also have an access report, which will show you how often that student has accessed your course. And user account details, which gives you some other basic information about the student, which I'm not sure you guys have access to. Which services they're registered for. You guys don't have some of these links because I'm an administrator, of course. So the people link can be helpful to you as an instructor. You can go into View User Groups, and from here you can make a new set of user groups. So if you want to have group activities within your class, you can set these groups up here, and you'll be able to see when we get to the gradebook section, if you have defined groups, you can either allow students to automatically populate those groups, or they can self-enroll in those groups if you want them to be able to enroll with their friends, and you can use those groups for grading. Even in a regular traditional class, the Canvas gradebook will allow you to use those groups for grading purposes, so that you can really leverage that capability. So that's a really handy thing for you to be able to have. Now, the last thing we're going to look at before we go to our break is back in settings. Actually, you know what? Let's do a break. Let's do a 5-minute break, because we're just over an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll look at a few more things within the course in settings and whatnot, and then we'll be able to start on grades.